evening, everyone. Well, I should say good evening, good afternoon, good morning to you from wherever you're watching us from this evening. Well, it is evening on my end of the world here. It is great to have you join us. Thank you for coming to be a part of this relationship answers. I remember when we had this last year. It was fire. So if you're here with us already, I need you to please do me a favor. You need to share the link to today's stream to your friends and family. We have a house packed with, phenomenal. I mean, Pastor Temi doesn't need any introduction. Pastor Abi doesn't need any introduction. Pastor Ruckey, I'm sure for some of you, doesn't need any introduction, but we are still going to introduce her. So please do invite your friends and your family to join us if you haven't done so. I mean, this is what, the 12th of February, and Valentine's Day is on the 14th. And I mean, in House on the Rock, London, we have the couples ball happening on the 15th. So if you still want to come, we can find a way to get you in, because we don't want you to be jealous of us. But it's going to be an amazing time. So please, welcome everyone that you have around you. Call your friends and your family. This is the time that we do not want to miss at all. And as we do that, I think I have the pleasure of bringing to the stage and welcoming my own, Pastor Temi, you're going to have to forgive me for this, because I'm going to invite my own Pastor Abi first. We say ladies first. So when I bring her up, and then I'll let you bring up Pastor Ruckey, because I believe you're going to do a better job at introducing her, telling us all about her and who she is. So I'll just invite Pastor Abi. So Pastor Abi doesn't need any introduction on this live stream. She comes really powerfully prepared, ready to answer all of those questions. Oh, shall I say thank you all to those people who have sent in their questions? I was reading these questions and I'm like, oh my goodness, what are you guys up to? I hope Pastor Abi and Pastor Ruckey and Pastor Temi are ready for what is about to hit them this evening. So Pastor Abi, welcome to you, Ma. Thank you for joining us this evening. It's really amazing to have you.
Good evening, Bibi. Good evening, everyone. It's so great to be here. I'm excited. And Bibi, you are talking about the questions. I hope those questions are not too hard. We trust the Holy Spirit to help us give the right answers and godly answers to those questions. I'm so excited to be here with Pastor Ruckey, with Pastor Temi. I know that we are going to have a great time of godly interaction and godly banter. It's going to be great.
Yes, thank you. Thank Pastor Abi. Trust me, the questions are hard, but you are harder. So if I can put it that way. So you can be rest assured that you have the answers, because the Holy Spirit is going to help you. Is going to help Pastor Temi, is going to help Pastor Ruckey. Because ultimately we want this is a godly conversation, and we want every single person who's going to tune in, either live or later on watch the live stream, will take something away and apply to their relationships. So thank you so much, Mike. It's so amazing to have you here. And now to my pastor, Pastor Temi. I'm not going to introduce you, because everyone on this live stream knows who Pastor Temi is. And if you don't know, so I would just say, please meet my pastor, our shepherd, Dr. Temi Abi Odejide. That's how we introduce you in church on Sunday. That's what they call you. So Pastor Temi, welcome to you, sir.
Thank you, BBJ, BB Johnson. Compare MC Extraordinary, Extraordinaire, compare conversations with BB. I mean, she's just a phenomenal host, and I'm so proud to be able to call her daughter in the faith and to have her doing such a great job in the house and on the globe. Amen. The best is still ahead. Excited people. We're super excited to be here and looking forward to the interaction. And God is able to answer all questions, even if we can't. So with no fear whatsoever. It was just about maybe even less than a week ago that I was just chatting with my dear sister and my friend, and I said, why don't I just have her come join us on tonight's conversation? So I'm super happy to have her on here tonight. She's a doctor. She's a relationship expert. She's a pastor. Glorious Vessels International. She's the convener and host of Hope Now Global, with many relationship conferences that hold in various countries of the world. So she knows her onions, a wonderful life coach, a relationship expert and counselor. My dear sister and close friend, Pastor Ruckey Peniel. So happy to have you here.
Thank you so much for inviting me. Thank you so much. It's always a great pleasure to work together with you and Pastor Abi and your glorious church family. Thank you so much, everyone. I'm looking forward to tonight.
Brilliant.
So great to have you, Ma. Thank you. We are super, super excited to have you here. I remember the last time probably the first time I met you sharing about relationship. It was at our couples retreat.
Oh, you were there?
I think a couple of years ago. That was so amazing. So, guys, this house is packed, like I said earlier. So you have to buckle up, get ready. Of course, to those who sent in their questions before today, thank you so much. And again, I'll say this, we are so happy to have you join us. And please do still send in some questions. If you have live questions that you want to share, we will try as much as possible to get to those questions as well. Now, I'm not promising that we'll get through all the questions, but of course, whatever we're able to get through, that will be more than enough to address all of your questions, all of your concerns about relationships and all. And of course, we have Pastor Temi, Pastor Abi, Pastor Ruckey, even offline, that you can connect with them afterwards to ask some of your other burning questions that we might not be able to take tonight. So shall we get into it then? Because, you know, with this conversation, it's like time goes really quickly. Before you know it, it's like time up. So I have a question here. And I have to say that to the person who sent in this question, if this person is watching us right now, thank you for taking the time to sit down and write out your story, because we are so interested in, I know Pastor Temi and Pastor Abi always talk about, you know, hearing about people's stories. And it's not just about, you know, we just want, oh, why should I marry a Christian, or why should I not marry a Christian? It's like, it's always useful to have scenario-based questions, you know, where people have actually had a lived experience and they want to ask questions based on their lived experiences. That is always useful, and is useful to everyone else that will listen to it. So I'm going to read out the question very quickly, and then I think I'll give it to, just because I'm a bit like, I just want to follow protocol, you know. I just let Pastor Temi to start it off first, you know, not because yes, this question, I just want you to start it off, but I'm sure Pastor Abi and Pastor Ruckey would also have something to add to it. So the person who sent in this question actually sent in quite long, so we've had to compress it just to save time. And it says in summary, I dated a minister who wanted a sex-free relationship, but later made advances that broke my trust. I declined his proposal, but he insists God told him I'm his wife. I've prayed, but have no clear direction. So I've prayed, but have no clear direction, except hearing the bird in hand is better than thousands in the field. Other men are interested, but I still prefer him. What should I do?
Wow, you promised that the questions were hard, so this is a very interesting one already to get the ball rolling. Okay, I'm trying to understand the story very well. This minister wanted a sex-free relationship, but at some point in time, that
started to make advances.
He started to make advances, and that broke this person's trust. And so she declined his proposal after that. But he keeps on insisting that he believes that she's meant to be his wife. Okay.
Yeah.
She hasn't gotten any clear direction except hearing the bird is in hand is better than thousands in the field. There are other suitors, but I still prefer him. So she still prefers him. Interesting, even though she declined the offer. What should I do? So I'm getting the impression that she declined the offer because he didn't keep his promise of sex-free and made advances. She didn't say whether she yielded to those advances. Hopefully she did not. But the whole fact that he even attempted to get physical or sexual with her broke her trust. Okay. Very interesting. What she keeps on hearing, or what she heard, the bird in hand is better than 1,000 in the field, is not found anywhere in the Bible. So that is not a word from the Lord. That is a word from the world. And it is not, it's conventional wisdom. This is a proverb that a lot of people know and have heard, and it's not necessarily a bad proverb or wisdom key, but we can't take it as a word from the Lord. A word from the Lord that lines up with the word of God. So my counsel to this person is that this person needs to still do some more soul searching and say, Lord, send me confirmation of your direction for my life. And God is not a bad God or an evil God. He's willing to lead us and to teach us. And he will give confirmations, he will give witnesses one way or another if we are alert and looking out for those witnesses. You would want to receive a word from God that is based upon his word. You want to receive a witness of the Spirit, the witness of peace, and you want to subject yourself to godly counsel that would be able to guide you on the way to go or the way not to go. Now, as regards the sexual side of things, the backdrop, that somebody made a mistake or whatever, attempted an advance, but then repented or stopped or whatever. You doesn't mean that, oh, that's it. No, never again can we have a relationship, especially if you did not yield to the advance. What you want to do is you want to do your homework of, so why that, and have you repented, and are there the fruit of repentance? If the only thing that's informing the decline is that this person, maybe in a weak moment, made that expected advance, then it shouldn't be a total no. You should go back to the drawing board. Is the person repentant? And then check with God again. I would say for this point in time, I don't know whether the ladies in the picture might have a better perspective in that they can identify with this person.
Yeah. So Pastor Abi or Pastor Ruckey, any thoughts?
Pastor Ruckey said I should go first.
Yes.
I think for me, I would like the lady to interrogate if there are other reasons why you are being hesitant. From this conversation or from this write-up, you said that he wanted a sex-free relationship. So he desired to do the right thing. He has a foundation to do the right thing. He desired to do the right thing. But we all know that if two people are in love, you put them into a room with the right temperature and pressure, of course, physical attraction would happen. Temptation is not a sin. It's natural for you to be attracted to the person that you are in love with. And I will share my life example. When it was a few weeks to my wedding, I had to pack my load and go to stay with my friend, even though I have a place of my own. And the reason why, when I first met my husband, I wasn't thinking of, physically attracted to him. But in order not to fall into the temptation of, we are almost married, we are there. When I see him, my body would feel somehow. He's not even the one making the advances. I want to hold him. I want to, to do just holding. And before you know, holding will lead to some. I packed my load. Nobody wants me. I packed my load. I said, friends, I am staying with you till I go to travel to go and get married. So he will come and see me. He will sit in my friend's place. My friend is in the same space with us. And he's going, I'll stand by the door and I'll be saying, okay, bye-bye. Just because I wanted to create that boundary. So sometimes those kind of things happen when you are really in love with someone. Temptation is not a sin. You haven't crossed the boundaries. It's something for you to talk about. And if he still maintain a sex-free courtship because you want to preserve your body before you get married, that can be worked on. However, if there are other issues that is causing you to have second thoughts, then you better interrogate it further. But if it's just because, he's making advances, I think it's bound to happen. It wasn't my husband that was making advances. It was me that I didn't trust myself, that I would not cross the boundaries. That made me pack my bag and run.
Wow. Thank you, Pastor Abi. I mean, Pastor Ruckey, I don't know if there's anything that you
I
want to
agree.
add.
I
So-
agree absolutely with the two comments. It's normal. Sexual attraction, physical attraction is normal in a love relationship, in a romantic relationship, in a marriage-bound relationship. And just like Pastor Abi rightly said, he didn't succumb, or both of you didn't succumb. I don't know who to give the credits to, but the temptation was there, right? Temptation is not a sin. So I think that's a brilliant response to that question. Except, of course, like Pastor Abi said, there are other things that we don't know about, that you know about, that makes you not quite sure if the guy, is going to be a real man of God in future. But if it's this matter, I would say, hey, it was a temptation. Let him repent, maybe confront him with your disappointment, and accept the Holy Spirit is telling you this is. But from what you said, you prefer the guy already. So I think it's a no-brainer. The two responses from Pastor Abi and Pastor Temi already did justice.
Brilliant.
Thank you very much. Pastor Temi, you wanted to say something?
No, I was just agreeing. It's not
Okay.
temptation. Temptation is not a sin. Yielding to temptation is.
I think that's a quote there, because even as you said it, Pastor Abi, temptation is not a sin. I had to stop in a few seconds to kind of take it in, because every time we've heard of temptation, it's like that's already sin. So I think that's a quote that we should write out for everyone to remember. So temptation is not a sin. It is
Yielding to temptation
yielding
is.
to temptation that is a sin. Thank you very much. So I'll move on to the next question. And God help me here, because these questions, I'm like, which one do I do first? All right. So can you address husbands having female friendships that don't seem to have boundaries? For example, speaking on the phone past 11 p.m. So husbands who don't seem to have boundaries with their female friendships and will sit on the phone past 11 p.m. gisting with their female friends. Can you address that, please? I think, Pastor Ruckey, I'll come to you first. Let's see.
I was fitting, getting ready to answer that one. Wow. I love it. I love it. So again, the right word there is the boundary, right? I don't oppose. Some people have the extreme position of, no, once you're married, you're not supposed to have friends in the opposite sex. That's hogwash. Friendships develop. We all need friends in life, but the thing there is boundary. And once it encroaches on the liberty or the comfortability of your partner, I think that's the watchword there. I have people who are friends with the opposite sex, professional friends, and they work late into the night. The wife is there or the husband is there. I really think the rule of thumb is, once one party is not comfortable with it, then it calls for wisdom. There has to be boundary. You can't be talking to your female colleague or friend late into the night, in the study, closed doors, and say, oh, it's a harmless friendship, and the wife feels left out. Sometimes it's the female as well. I've had clients that it's the female that has no boundaries, with our male counterparts or colleagues or friends and all of that. I really think if the wife because now it's one-sided, it's like, oh, the male having female friend, but I've seen cases where it's the opposite as well. If one party, either the husband or the wife, is not comfortable, it's time to then, draw the line. But otherwise, I really believe most times these friendships are harmless. It becomes harmful where there's emotional intimacy excluding the partner. That is when it's a no-no, because we all know about emotional affairs. But if it's like just harmless friendship and the wife approves of the friendship in the first place, again, that's another place I draw the line. If your wife is not comfortable with a relationship, because women are very intuitive, right? If she's not comfortable with the relationship, it's either you bring the wife into the relationship. The best friend of your life should be your wife or your husband. And if there's another friend that threatens that intimacy, then I think love and decency and the fear of God calls for boundaries, But otherwise, I'm sorry, that's my neighbor.
No, that's fine. I think you've already got the point across very well anyway, and we got that. Pastor Temi, I don't know if there's anything that you'd like to add to that very quickly.
I think Pastor Ruckey's answer is spot on. Pastor Abi had to quickly attend to something. She'll be back in a few moments. I think just a little bit that I would add is that God gave Adam all of the trees in the garden to enjoy, but then he said, do not eat of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. So God, right from the beginning, introduced boundaries. That even though I'm giving you everything to enjoy, I'm still putting some boundaries here. I'm telling you not to partake of this. So boundaries are not a bad thing. Boundaries are a good thing. And in marriage, we should already know that we are going to have healthy boundaries, because boundaries protect the relationship, also protect the perception of that relationship. It makes the relationship more honored by third parties. If there are no boundaries, if there are no hard lines, it becomes such that the even third parties can now deal with the relationship in disrespectful manner. But when they know that you honor your spouse by saying that, no, I don't go here, I don't go beyond this time, that time, or whatever, dependent on the peculiarity of your situation, the more honor that relationship in itself will have. So boundaries are not a bad thing. They're a good thing. They protect the relationship. They are healthy. You need to agree on those boundaries. You should discuss about the boundaries. You should agree upon the boundaries, and it will help the relationship.
Thank you, Pastor Temi. Pastor Abisoye, I know you probably have something to say to this, but let me ask the next question, because I think it kind of borders on the boundaries as well. So you can just pick up this question with your thoughts on the previous question. And the question says, can you define infidelity in marriage? Is it just the act of sleeping with someone other than your spouse? So, Pastor Abi, if you can help to take that and then add whatever your thoughts were on the previous question around boundaries, that would be really helpful.
I think Pastor Temi and Pastor Ruckey has answered the question on boundaries. I think for me, once your spouse is not comfortable with that relationship, then you need to reassess it. We have a code. Somebody cannot be your friend and not be my friend. So a female friend cannot say, oh, I'm Pastor Temi's friend and I'm not Pastor Abi's friend. Or I like Pastor Temi, but I don't like Pastor Abi. It's gonna work. If you like Pastor Temi, you will have to like Pastor Abi. And if you like Pastor Abi, you cannot tell me, oh, I like Pastor Abi, but I don't like Pastor Temi. Even if you are my female friend, if you like me, then you have to respect my choice. As this is my hedge, this is my choice, this is my husband. So if you like me, you have to do that. So you cannot be my colleague or my work friend and not be my wife's friend. There are people in our lives that was probably first my husband's friend, and then we became best of friends. In fact, she talks to me now and just talks to my husband.
She stole my friend. In other words, she just stole my friend. She was my friend. She was really close to me. I just introduced them that let them have acquaintance. Before I knew it, she has stolen my friend.
I would go to holidays. I would leave him behind, and he would talk to both of us. But I think that's maintaining boundaries and building rich relationships. But if somebody is your friend and doesn't want anything to do with your spouse and can talk to you till 11, then that's not healthy. In terms of infidelity in marriage, It depends on how people want to define it. If you want to go with the infidelity, traditional definition of infidelity, yes, you will be talking about sexual interaction and sexual involvement. However, we all know that infidelity doesn't just don't jump on anybody. It doesn't just jump on you. It starts from somewhere. For it to get to infidelity, there are definitely emotional entanglement that started, but we're not. They're just, sometimes they just creep in, but you just didn't take notice of it. You can't just see somebody on the street and you pull the person inside and you want to sleep with that person. It doesn't happen like that. It starts with, hello, how are you? Oh, you look nice today. Oh, you smell nice. I like your cut. I like your dress. I like your nails. I like your, and then you talk for hours and it leads to infidelity. So it doesn't start from sleeping with someone. There is a process to it.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with what's being said. The infidelity, if we want to be legalistic, we'll say that infidelity is sexual intercourse. So if no sexual intercourse has taken place, infidelity has not happened. But that's not true. And in our heart of hearts, we know that it's not true. That infidelity is actually, first of all, an act of the heart before it's even an action of the body.
Yeah.
And in fact, Jesus' standard is ridiculously higher, because Jesus said that if you look at a woman lustfully, you have already committed infidelity. So he's telling you, really trying to get you to see that it's about your heart more than even the actions that you take. And if we really love our spouses, and if we really want to walk in holiness, we're not looking for how close can I get to the boundary without crossing the boundary. We're looking for how far can I stay away from this boundary. And the scriptures do say that no one can hold fire in his bosom and not get burnt. So these are the things that I think we need to note about infidelity. So it is a mistake and a slippery slope when we want to stick only to the strict definition of infidelity being sexual intercourse, because then we'll say everything else save that act is not infidelity, meaning that I'm opening the door to everything else save the act, and it's not true. It's not true. And it's just a matter of time before everything else save that act will lead to the act.
And just to add something, this question of, oh, I have not, I haven't betrayed you, or I haven't committed adultery. Sometimes men use that as a weapon to say, oh, but I haven't done anything. We haven't done anything. I haven't slept with her. You might not have slept with her, but your mind, your heart is already connected, which is a betrayal to your spouse. Or even the woman will say, oh, no, I haven't slept with him. We just talk. But your heart is already shifting. You haven't just found the opportunity to do the do.
True.
And you are caught. And it is God that caught you, that did not want you to go to do the do. Just caught you in the way. It is a way of escape. So take it. Don't try to be defending yourself and say, oh, but I haven't done it. You don't have to wait till you've done it. It is God that is putting an alarm bell and telling you, wake up, get away from that path. That is a path that leads to destruction.
Yeah. Now, thank you. Thank you very much, Pastor Abi and Pastor Temi and Pastor Ruckey as well. People, I hope you're taking notes. As I said earlier, please do send in questions. If you have any questions that you want to ask, send it in. We'll try as much as possible to take the questions. Now, because we're going to have a break, we're going to have a short break to talk about something very interesting, very important that you all don't want to miss. But before then, I would ask this one question. And then after the question, we'll go for the break. When we come back, we'll take it a step up, because there's a question here that is burning, I need to get to it. So that's how we're going to do it for now. So the next question here is, the person says, I'm torn between two men who seem to be both great. Any idea how to make the choice easy and secure for me? Now, I think this one, let the Holy Spirit lead.
As the Holy
Spirit leads, please, pastors.
Pastor
You can take the question.
I want to go for this one. So, because I really am passionate about helping singles. The marriage it's a journey of purpose, right? And before you go on that journey, you need to know what you're about. Maybe not the whole picture, but you need to have a healthy idea of where you want to be in 5-10 years. Usually that realization helps you streamline who fits the journey. Usually, of course, there are deeper things to that, but I tell people that if you don't know who you are now, I mean, this is what I do mostly, in counseling. I see people who had no business being married in the first place. The one is going east, the other is going west. And it's because at the point of marriage or making that decision, they had not discovered themselves. They have no healthy idea of self, healthy idea of me. It's not selfish to know what you're about. It's wisdom to know these are my deal makers and my deal breakers. So no matter how good both guys are, there will be peculiarities with the two of them. I mean, I always advise ladies, especially, not to get themselves into that place in the first place where they'll have to choose between two guys, right? But okay, now you're in that situation. The question you need to ask yourself is, if I'm married to A, will it fulfill me in the next 5 years? Does A, fit XYZ of my life journey? Do I know my life's journey? If you don't know your life journey, if you don't have an idea of where you'll be in 5-10 years, this is one of the major causes for divorce nowadays, that couples grow apart and they say, oh, I've outgrown her or I've outgrown him. That can already help you. Knowledge of purpose, an idea of where you want to be in the next 5-10 years can usually, of course, I'm speaking in generalization, can usually help you know who fits the picture most, for your life's journey. I hope that helps. It's deeper than that. There's a lot of, angles to look at, but I really strongly believe that your knowledge of personal purpose, again, purpose is holistic. It's not something that you know the whole of it at once, but you should have an idea of who you are, where you want to be in the next 5 years, what are your deal breakers, what are your deal makers. That should normally help you, streamline your choice between the two guys.
Thank you very much, Pastor Ruckey. I mean, Pastor Abi or Pastor Temi, do you have anything to add to
I think
what Pastor Ruckey has said already?
What Pastor Ruckey has said is right on point. Your purpose. Marriage is about purpose, right? So if you know your purpose, then which of the two persons most complements or aligns with your purpose? But don't just think about how they complement with your purpose. Which of the two persons will you be best help meet to? Because a lot of the time we're only thinking about ourselves. What fits me? What will I like? What will help me? Also think about which one of them will I be best to suited for, or be able to better help in fulfilling their purpose. And that could help you be able to decide which of the two to run with. But obviously pray. Apart from all of these things, make sure that you pray about it, that God give me light and give me confirmations.
I often say that life is all about painting a canvas. So just to round up what Pastor Ruckey said, in your canvas of life, when you see that drawing of yourself in 5 years or 10 years time, what fits in? Do you see yourself in his canvas, and do you see him in your canvas? Fits in. I think that question will also help you to make your choice.
Thank you very much, pastors. I mean, that is very, very powerful. So the person that sent in this question, I do hope that you're watching or you're going to see this later on. I have one thing to say to you. You need to get a session with any of these pastors to walk you through, because all that they have said, for me, I feel like it is still very high level. Yeah. So you need, because you've got something to walk through now. You want to have a sit down with them to walk you through it. And of course, pray with you as well. So thank you again, pastors. It is amazing. I think we're going to have a break now, which is a few minutes break. Don't go anywhere, because what we want to show you, everyone has to see. And then we'll be back shortly.
I'm Charlie from OCA, the Oxford Centre for Christian Apologetics. Apologetics is about giving an answer, a reason for the hope that you have. And we're delighted to be partnering with House on the Rock Church in London for a day conference called Faith in the Real World.
Hello friends, I'm Temi Odejide, lead pastor at House on the Rock London. And we're absolutely thrilled to invite you to a transformative event this Easter weekend, the Confident Faith Conference, brought to you in collaboration with OCA. The theme is Faith in the Real World, and together we'll dive into some of the biggest questions our world faces today, exploring them through the lens of Christian faith.
We'd love to welcome you to House on the Rock for this really exciting day. It's on a Saturday, the 19th of April, as we gather to think about faith in the real world. As well as key talks throughout the day, there'll be opportunities for Q&A so that you can ask any question that you've got. We want people to be able to confidently talk about Jesus in the world. We're going to think about Christ beyond culture. There are so many different cultures in the world, and at various points in history, people have enforced their culture upon other parts of the world. What does it mean that Jesus is Lord? What does it mean for people who acknowledge that Jesus is the King of the universe to go and share their faith in a way that doesn't squash or crush other people's cultures? How do we bring our difference and diversity into the kingdom of God?
We're going to consider the crossroads of the cross, how Jesus' life has defined and divided history up to this present day. Did he really rise from the dead? Is there evidence of this extraordinary claim? How can we confidently share our faith in a rational, compelling way in today's world? We're going to talk about this and much more.
So please join us for Faith in the Real World on Saturday, the 19th of April, 2025. Come along and be equipped. Come along with your questions. Come along with your challenges. Come along with your hunger to learn, that we might together collaborate and see God's kingdom grow.
This is more than a conference. It's a journey to anchor your faith and inspire bold conversations. Whether you are wrestling with doubts, curious about evidence, or seeking deeper understanding, this day is for you. Don't keep this to yourself. Tell all of your family, friends, and anyone searching for answers about Christianity. It's going to be a day packed with inspiration, insight, and truth, starting from 10 a.m. prompt at the Rock Tower of House on the Rock London, 49 Tottenham Park Road, N70PS. We can't wait to host you. Let's gather, learn, and strengthen our confident faith together. See you there, and God bless you.
Wow,
Welcome
wow, wow.
back. Welcome back. That is going to be hot. So can I just say very quickly, it's the Saturday, the 19th of April from 10 a.m. at the Rock Tower. Guys, you need to note this date down. It's not, I mean, we're in February now, so there's about 2 months notice. So make all efforts to be a part of it. I mean, it's faith in the real world. What can be more practical than that, you know? So I'm really excited, and I hope everyone else is excited as well. So welcome back, pastors. I hope you were able to get a drink very quickly whilst we had that break. So because it's going to get a lot hotter in this room right now. My next question, the person who sent through this question, I think it's just, we take that one, and then I'll go to the main one that I feel like it's super, super, super important for this evening. And this question says that, why do some husbands think it's okay to forcefully have sex with their wives and not consider it rape?
That's evil.
Sit where I leaned in.
It's not okay.
It's not okay.
It's not okay.
It's not okay.
So the short answer is it's not okay, right?
It's actually illegal.
It's a criminal,
It's a criminal offense. in England and in most
In most
civilized
jurisdictions, yes.
yeah, it's a criminal offense to forcibly, even though she's your wife, even though he's your husband, it can be both ways. Although more often than not is the other way around. Yeah. There still has to be consent, not assumed consent, but real consent. It's illegal, and you can go to prison for it.
Right.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you very much. I'm sure we can just leave that there. So
Yeah.
there is no too much to say on that one. It's not right. It's illegal. You can go to prison for it. Don't indulge in that. That's it. Thank you very much, pastors. So I'll go on to the next question very quickly. And the question says, when is it the right time to let go of a relationship that is not working or toxic? When is the right time? If you know of any right time to this, Pastor Abi?
I believe the right time is when you know that that relationship is toxic. It's time for you to get out of it. There is no tolerating a toxic relationship. It's not going to get better if you graduate it to marriage. I mean, I'm talking about if you are not married now, Then if the relationship is not working, I think it behoves you to try to find out, why is it not working? Is it because of your expectation of what that relationship was meant to deliver to you and it's not meeting your expectations? Or what exactly is it that is not working? Are you having personality clash? Are you having, what kind of differences? There are some differences that can be worked on, but there are some that that we are just not a match for each other. And I tell people, if you are dating, you are in the best time in decision making because you haven't committed to anything yet. So if it is not working, you can walk away from it. A broken engagement is not the same thing as a divorce. So it's good for you to be able to assess and say, this is not working for me. The person might be great. The person doesn't even have to be a bad person, but you might just not be good for each other. The person might be a believer, but you're just not good for each other. So, but once you know that a relationship is toxic, then it is time for you to walk away from it. Start planning your exits. It is not fun to stay in a toxic relationship. And the Bible says that you should flee from every appearance of evil. As far as I am concerned, a toxic relationship is evil relationship. I will back my Bible on.
Yeah, thank you. Pastor Ruckey, do you want to add anything to that?
I want to add, because it doesn't signify what kind of, is it a marital relationship? Is it a work relationship? I would like to speak on the marital one because I've worked with some really nasty cases like that. When it's a toxic marriage, I think the first thing to do, since you missed the red, usually obviously there are red flags right from the dating period, the courtship period. Since you thought the red was orange, like some ladies say, or pink, and now you've seen the red is really red. We had a lady who said, actually, to be honest, I saw those red flags, but I just thought they were orange, or pink, and now it's obviously red. And then she wants out, comes to the pastor for counseling. That's the first thing to do, really. If it's a toxic marriage, go for counseling. Hopefully, the husband goes. It's usually the man who doesn't want to go, who thinks the wife is the one who needs to be talked to. But if it's a toxic marriage, because it's already a marital relationship, as long as there's no physical abuse, I say to people, don't even wait till physical abuse, just like we were talking about affairs as well. Abuse is abuse. Once you notice there's maybe financial abuse, emotional abuse, verbal abuse, there are only gateways to ultimate, physical abuse. Once you notice any kind of toxicity in your marriage, and you neglected, to address it in the premarital stage, then it's fire on the mountain. It's really, you need to be very, very, keen on going into counseling, both of you. And if the man doesn't want to go, it's time to start praying and fasting that he does. The reason is that we all know, well, I assume these days it's a little bit awry now. God hates divorce. But then again, I heard someone say to me, and it's true, that the covenant of life surpasses the covenant of marriage, actually. God would rather have you alive than have you dead, in a toxic marriage. So if you're listening to us tonight and you're in a toxic marriage, it is serious. Take it very serious. Stop making excuses. Go in for counseling, get intervention partners, activated, and so help you God. I advise you to go into counseling straight away.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much, Pastor Ruckey. Pastor Temi, do you want to add anything?
I think you've done brilliantly on this one. Toxic is clear. Toxic it's an alarm ringing. Toxic is immediately associated with abuse. So drastic measures need to be taken. In the context of the unmarried, it is a clear red flag to not proceed any further. In the context of the married, it's time for intervention, counseling, and whatever things need to be done. Okay. But in the other question of a relationship not working, when do we say something is not working? We say something is not working when it is not fulfilling its function, when it is meeting to what you expect it to be. So you have to ask yourself, what are my expectations of this relationship? Are my expectations realistic? Are my expectations legitimate? Are my expectations godly or biblical? If your expectations fulfill those criteria and they are still not being met in the relationship, then it is an indication that it's time to let go of that relationship. Okay, so a relationship not working is different from a toxic relationship. Toxic is red alarm.
Yeah.
Not working can be interrogated to find out that it can work or nah, it can't work. Let's move on.
Thank you very much, Pastor Temi. I'm going to move on very quickly to the next question. The other question I was going to read earlier, I think I'm going to leave it till later because that question is so critical, and I feel like the person who sent it in really want us to spend a bit of time on that one. So this question came in as we were live. We've been live since. It says, is it wrong for husbands and wives to have their own privacy? For example, a husband wanting to always check his wife's phone and account, and vice versa, when they don't have joint account. So he wants to check the account even though they don't have joint account. And can a husband insist on knowing the conversation his wife is having with her friends, and vice versa? So I'll leave that open to anyone to pick that up first.
I love this because, again, these are the very common things that come up in marriages. Is it okay? Yes, everyone has a right to their privacy, right? In marriage, however, the two must become one. So usually when a husband monitors the wife's phone, it's another red flag, or vice versa as well. It is a clear indication that there's no trust, right? Yeah. So we need to investigate why there's no trust. Is it coming from past trauma? Is it, childhood trauma? Is it former relationship hurts that they've not, overcome, that's brought them to this level of, what I call neurotic, insecurity? Or has there been a real reason? Has there been an affair? Or, has the husband caught the wife cheating, or vice versa? In a healthy relationship, privacy needs to be defined because two has become one. I always tell couples that if you are in a place where you have to hide your phone from your spouse in the first place, there's a problem, right? that means you're doing what you're not supposed to be doing. Your wife is supposed to be an extension of yourself, right? So where the husband has to check on his wife's phone or vice versa is a clear indication of a relationship that lacks trust. And I always say it's two ways. If the trust is coming from your own past insecurity, you need to, get rid of that, seek healing, and don't be afraid to accept that, hey, I'm the one that have the problem of trust because of ABC from the past. But if it's because the trust was there initially and it was broken for any reason, the party who breaks the trust, the onus lies on them, to regain that trust. But these are also things that needs counseling for. But is it okay to have your own privacy? That's it. You need to define what privacy means in a marriage, right? Because you're supposed to be one flesh. You're not supposed to have secrets from each other. You're not supposed to have best friends outside each other. You're not supposed to have confidential things, except, of course, if it has to do with your work. For example, a pastor, a good shepherd is not supposed to divulge, confidences, or a lawyer or a doctor, things like that. But any other thing apart from professional confidentiality in marriage, it's an alarming, situation, which is very common, actually, that both of them have secrets, or things that then needs privacy, then don't get married. Marriage means you should be naked and unafraid to expose yourself to each other.
That is powerful. Pastor Temi, I can see your face like.
No. I'm enjoying Pastor Ruckey. She's saying everything that I want to say. Yeah, right on point. This question just points to a trust issue in the relationship. There's a lack of trust issue, and that needs to be interrogated clearly. But at the same time, there's supposed to be openness and honesty in a marital relationship. So each spouse should have access to their spouse's phone, account, whatever it is. But that you have access doesn't mean that you are constantly going to go and check it. If there's trust, I don't have to be monitoring you. It's just natural, my wife has my passcodes to everything. I have her passcodes to everything, but she's not constantly. I'm not coming home and say, "Bring your phone. I want to see the conversations you've had today." And neither am I doing that to her because there's trust. So the trust issue is the thing that needs to be interrogated. If the trust issue is sorted, you won't be bothered about he's checking my phone or he's asking about my conversation. You won't even have to ask about the conversation. You'll be offering the information of the conversation before you're even asked.
The only thing I want to add is that if you find yourself in this kind of situation, please seek help, seek counseling. Don't wait till it gets so bad before you seek help. This is the time for you to seek help. It is a pointer that there is something that is not going right with your relationship. So if you're still able to talk about it here without fighting each other, then there is hope to restore that relationship. Because sometimes what we find out as counselors is that sometimes things have gone so bad before people come forward to even come to pastors or come to counseling. So this is an opportunity for you to address this trust issue and to help both of you heal. Whether it is past trauma, whether it is you're having incidents that is making your spouse feel insecure about your other relationship or relationship you have with your friends. Oh, when they gather, they're always talking about their husbands. They're always talking about us. They're always talking about me. And I have caught them, talking about somebody else's husband. So if they are doing that, so who says that they won't do the same thing about me? So it's time for you to address it. Don't wait till it gets bad. Seek help, seek counseling.
Thank you. Thank you very much, pastors. You've said it, seek help, seek counseling. That is so important. There's a question here. The person says, is it better to marry your best friend or someone who challenges you? So, yes, again, leaving it open. Is it better to marry your best friend or someone who challenges you?
I think that there's a challenge or a problem with the question because it's presented as mutually exclusive, or an oxymoron of sort, or conflicting. I think that your best friend should challenge you.
Yeah.
And if that best friend is not challenging you, is not your best friend.
Yes.
Because part of the job description of the best friend is to challenge you to be a better version of yourself. The kisses of an enemy are deceitful. The wounds of a friend are true. Your best friend will challenge you. Your best friend won't let you be the worst version of yourself. Your best friend will question when you are behaving not right. That's a true friend. So your best friend will challenge you. So it shouldn't be if the person's best friend is not challenging you, or unless your definition of best friendship is the person just condones everything you do. That's not a friend. That's an enemy. A best friend will challenge you. Now, if you now say you want to choose the person that is only challenging you but is not a friend to you, that is problem. You want to marry somebody that's not that only challenges you but doesn't befriend you. That's not a marital candidate. That person doesn't like you. So, one of the key foundations for relationship, particularly marital, is that there has to be friendship, strong friendship in the mix. So your best friend will challenge you, and so your best friend. So that's my thought about this question.
Thank you very much, Pastor Temi. I think I want us to cover as many questions as possible. So I think we're just going to go this way. One person will answer the question, except there's just something burning that you really want to add to what the person has said. We can move on to the next one so that we can cover as much. Now, this question says, how do I know if my frustration with my partner's financial situation is a sign to leave or something we can walk through? So how do I know if my partner's financial situation is a sign to leave or something we can walk through?
Are we talking about a marital relationship here?
It just says my partner. So I guess we can take it from marital perspective because it says if it's a sign to leave or something they can walk through. So I want to believe that this is a marriage. This is a marriage.
You can't leave your partner because of financial situation. It's a covenant you entered into. And we just talked about, Pastor Temi just talked about best friend, which again comes into this. Put yourself in your partner's shoes. Would you want your partner to leave you if you have financial challenges? Again, the question, is not clear under what circumstances, but if it is marriage, if it's a marital relationship, it's a marriage partner, you cannot just leave them because they have financial issues. You should help them, encourage them, pray for them. Maybe they need financial counseling, maybe they need financial mentoring, education, but you can't just leave your husband or wife because of financial situation. It's a no-brainer. In a healthy marriage, you should be there to support each other through the dark times, through the difficult times. And if the financial situation is a chronic one, then you really should get help. Again, that's the place for counseling and coaching and expertise, to be introduced to the marriage.
Pastor, thank you so much, Pastor Ruckey. Pastor Abi, can you please speak to if this was a just courtship? So they're not married, they're still courting.
I think
what would you advise?
If courting, there is an opportunity for us to get better. We are supposed to make each other get better. I would counsel that you confront the person with a financial situation and say that, you know what, we need help. And we're always learning. Whether it is in courtship or unless you know that this person has a gambling problem. And even with gambling problem, they can seek professional help. Well, if you're having financial situation, it's good to interrogate what is causing this financial situation. Do we have to actually invest in upskilling? Do we have to get a financial coach if the person doesn't know how to handle money? Do we have to have a life coach that has to teach about habits of handling money? Because it might not be that you don't know how to handle money, but you've a behavioral therapy where you need to change some things about your mindset about money, or do you, or the person is just has poor financial literacy. Do you have to get a coach to teach the person financial literacy? For example, I'll use our marriage in 20, we are going to be 24, is it 24 years this year? We've had situation whereby financial situation has been up and down. You can marry lush and something would happen. Economic crisis, downtown in the sector that your husband is, and things just disappear, as in you can lose everything.
Yes.
Are you going to say, oh, I'm working out because now he doesn't have anything? Did you marry him because of money in the first place? You know, you marry that person because you believe that that person is your partner. You can walk through life together. So things are going to change. There are situations where my husband had earned more than me. There are situations where I've earned more than him. We don't see the money as your money or her money is money that God is using any channel to bring to that family. So we are just custodian of that. So in terms of financial situation, what exactly you need to interrogate what it is. If you marry the person because of finances, even if it's lost today, something can happen tomorrow. There is no permanent financial situation. If you live long on this earth, you will know that things can go up and down, and it can happen at the snap of a finger. So what would you do? You must be resilient. You must be able to stay with your partner and say, we are going to walk through this. I used to say something. I tell my husband, whoever I get married to will become wealthy, whether he likes it or not. Because
Amen.
wealth. I'm the daughter of a king. So when I come into your space, I come with all that. So if you lack knowledge, I would put that knowledge into you. If you lack
Belief or
you know,
confidence or whatever.
whatever I would put in there. God says,
Yes.
whoever finds me finds favor, and he obtains reward from the Lord. So as he has found me, things are going to change for him. So if he had covenant with poverty before, if he marries me, that covenant is broken.
Amen.
It cannot stand. So yeah, and that's how it should be, and that's how we should address this. And please don't look condescendingly on your spouse because the person has a financial situation. Things can actually change.
If I'm going to keep in just a bit, because I'm looking at that question and the person said, my frustration with my partner's financial situation. The use of that word frustration seems to indicate a chronic scenario and suggests that probably the partner just keeps on making bad financial decisions, always losing money, is always investing in the wrong thing, is always overspending, is always just so you're frustrated. And it's not that these things have not been addressed before, but despite the repeated addressing of it, he still does, or he still does, whoever it is, the same thing. So there's frustration here. But it is still not, if it is a marriage, it's still not, well, the solution is I'm going to leave. No, you have to find a way of working through it. You have to seek help. If the person is not hearing you, who does the person hear that can be called upon, intervene on? Is the person really getting the message as to how serious this thing is and how deeply it is affecting you and frustrating you? Or the other person still has the attitude, this is just life now, So these are the things, but it's not the exit sign for a marriage. It is the work sign, more work to be done sign for a marriage.
Thank you very much. I think that's so true. It's like these things, life happens. But Pastor Abi saying what you said about you saying that what you bring if you come into this person's life, if this person lack X, you're bringing it to this person because you have it. And I think that's a healthy way of looking at oneself. So the focus is not on always on the other person. It's on your own self as well, that what do you actually bring here? So if this person is someone who can manage finances properly, do you have the capability to manage finances? And then you take that on. So thank you so much. I mean, I'm nowhere near a counselor here, so I'm also learning. This question I want to read, you might as well just say that it's a question from me personally as well. And the question says, does marriage change a relationship or just reveal what was already there? Does marriage change a relationship or just reveal what was already there? And I'm happy for any of the pastors to take this.
Again, there's not a dichotomy or a clash between the answers. It's not an either or. It can actually be a both and. So I'm going to say yes to both. Okay. Now, marriage is an amplifier. Marriage amplifies whatever you bring to it. So it reveals what you have brought to it. It amplifies it. It makes it bigger. It makes it more obvious. It makes it louder. Marriage amplifies. But marriage will also change you. It will change a relationship, whether you like it or not. Once you get married, in fact, we like to say that marriage is not spelled M-A-R-R-I-A-G-E. Marriage is actually spelled C-H-A-N-G-E. Change. Marriage will change you. And unfortunately or realistically, more so for the woman. When a woman gets married, her whole life changes. The responsibility, I am now Mrs. Yeah, she acquires a master's degree instantaneously, MRS, boom, she's got it. And then before you know it, maybe she now carries your seed and has a baby. My wife likes to say, the things that pastors like to say, your life will never be the same again. She said, one thing that is guaranteed that your life will never be the same again is just have a baby. Your life will never be the same again. Never. So marriage will change you no matter what, and it will change the dynamics of the relationship. The happy-go-lucky, carefree person before marriage all of a sudden becomes very detailed and responsible in marriage because of marriage. So it will change you, but it will also reveal things that you have brought to it. It will amplify things that you have brought to it. So it's both.
Okay, sir. Thank you very much. Really appreciate that. Moving on very quickly to the next question. How do you manage dating someone of another religion as a believer? For context, I have had previous relationships with Christian men, and I've always had bad experiences. I am currently dating a Muslim. He respects me and my religion. I told you this was going to be hard. This is really tough because now we're speaking to pastors. So this is someone in a relationship with a Muslim that feels or knows that they've been treated badly in previous relationships with Christian men. But now with this guy who's a Muslim and feels well treated and well respected. So, and the person respects our religion. So how is she to manage it?
As someone, not just from the pastoral or professional point of view, but as someone who literally grew up in this kind of marriage, I would say, no, don't do it. So my mom, for context, was a Christian, Methodist, and met my dad, who treated her nice than any other guy. And of course, they got married with my dad promising, you can do your religion, I will even follow you to church and all of that. And then the kids started coming in, and my mom saw that they have to stick to one religion. So apart from the strictly spiritual danger, of going into marriage with someone whose faith is different from yours, you have to reckon with when kids start to come in. Because yes, it's true, maybe the partner is really very tolerant and says, don't worry, you can do your religion, like my dad said. But I lived that life for the first 19 years till I met Christ myself and became a Christian. it's not something you want to get yourself into, particularly when kids start to come in. There will always be those junctions that you both will have to. And what usually happens is that now that she specifically said a Muslim, it appears like, okay, we're liberal, you know, I can accept them. Usually the Muslims who get into relationship with Christians are like that. I can accept your religion, or you going to church, or you doing your religion, your faith, until maybe a major festival comes up, you know, and the husband, of course, is the head of the home. You can't also then tell him not to do his religion. So I would stick with the biblical advice or injunction that says that don't be unequally yoked. That's not just for religion, of course, that's for other areas, but especially spiritual intimacy is best. It's best when you have the same mindset spiritually, and that means the same faith. That's strictly my advice
Thank
to
you very
couples
much.
with that challenge.
Thank you very much, Ma. So it's best when you both have the same spiritual mindset. It's just secured that way. Pastor Abi, Pastor Temi, is there anything else that you want to add to this very quickly before I go on to the next question?
I think that this person is comparing and reacting to some Christian men that she's dated, and felt like, oh, if a Christian man can treat me like this and the Muslim is treating me better, I can actually marry that Muslim. Some people won't like what I'm about to say, but I will say it anyhow, and I'll say it anyway. If one of the reasons why I believe personally that I need to marry a Christian is because I want the God that I know and I serve to be my father-in-law. So I can have someone to go and report report his son to. I can say, Daddy, see what your son has done. And Daddy can deal with both of us. And I know that he's a just God. However, if I marry a Muslim, how do I relate with that God that is not my God? That's one question for me. I wouldn't know how to do it. Would I really want that God to be my father, to be my father-in-law? Probably not. Secondly, if I believe in the Bible and I believe that Jesus is the only way to the Father, and I love that person, would I go to heaven without seeing him there? And I call him my husband. That's my second reason why I would rather choose to. And then thirdly is what Pastor Ruckey said. I don't want my children to be confused, because at the end of the day, they will say, Daddy does this, Mommy does this. What are we supposed to do? And then they'll choose, you know. It's very confusing. So for me, there are complicated issues. I think just because you dated a Christian and they've treated you badly doesn't mean that there is no Christian man that will treat you right. So don't lose hope in dating Christian men. And just like you met a Muslim that is treating you good, there are Muslims that are treating their wife badly. So it's not, I don't think that is all about the religion. It's all about putting your head and your heart to God and asking God to lead you to that right person that he has for you. You know, but you can't just say, oh, there are no men in church, then let me go and marry a worldly guy. You will leave worldly marriage with that person. And worldly marriage is a marriage that is filled with heartaches and pain. And really don't want that.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Pastor Abi. I'm looking at a time, and our time is fast spent. And if I tell you, I have just received about 4 or 5 different questions already, and I haven't even gone through the list that I've got yet, but I'm just going to read out this question because this one is the one I've been saying I need to come back to soon. And the question says, where is the place in the church for mature singles desiring relationships, divorced, widowed, single parents? Many of the relationship advice is focused on young singles This excludes the matured singles desiring relationships who have more struggles with loneliness, because in all their circles, they invariably as the only single person. So this question, in summary, is in relation to mature singles, or single parents, divorced, widowed individuals. Where is their place in the church? And I mean, I don't know whether you can understand the part of where is the place in the church for mature singles.
There is a place for them in the church. There's no other place for them than in the church. There is a place for them in the church. And the church is maturing and growing more and more. I'm speaking globally now. Our language is changing. We're speaking more and more to these very real life situations. You've heard Abi tonight. You've heard Pastor Ruckey tonight. It's not just, oh, let's just quote scripture. It's getting deep and real with things. So the church is still the place for this demographic of unmarried persons, whether divorced, whether God hates divorce, not the divorcee, widowed, single parents, all of that. Yeah. So there's a place for them in the church. We love them in the church. The assumption that all of the answers and the advices is only for young single person, that is where I will have a bit of a query. That I don't know that all of the advice is only for the younger singles. I think that is a perception issue. And maybe it's because younger singles are more ready to come up and ask you the question, while the older or more mature singles who have gone through a bit of things in life sometimes feel like, I'm not married, but I don't feel like I'm single because I am through these situationships and things in my life. So I'm neither there nor here kind of thing. And sometimes the mature singles find themselves hiding, not involving themselves in communities, sitting far away, withdrawing from things, social gatherings of church. They're not the first in. And even if they come in, they're flying under the radar. They somehow think the whole world is looking at them funny. And it's not always the case. My counsel to the mature singles, it's time for you to become more visible. It's time for you to become more engaged. It's time for you to put yourself out there, even in the social settings and gatherings. Take it once again, because you are welcome. This is home.
Thank you, Pastor Temi. I don't know if Pastor Abi or Pastor Ruckey wants to add anything to that, because now we're talking about mature singles and, you know, people who are all alone. I think the part around the loneliness, you know, and Pastor Temi, you touched on it. If you're withdrawing yourself and all, of course, that would come in, right? So Pastor Ruckey and Pastor Abi, would you like to add anything to what Pastor Temi has said already?
I think he made the best case. What I wanted to add is that, but because we've tried this before, you know, in my home church, years ago, my pastor said, okay, let's get the single parents fellowship going. And it was not very successful as at then. This was in the 90s, because like Pastor Temi said, the average single mom or single dad does not per se want to be, you know, categorized as a fellowship in church. They still want to be like other singles, but then they have the real life issue of, you know, raising children alone. I think, just like Pastor Temi said, it's a self-perception that needs to change, right? With the matured singles and the single parents, like, you're still single ultimately. And I understand that it's very precarious and sensitive, because then parenting challenges are there. You know, I've known intimacy before. What do I do with burning? And all of these questions that, you know, sometimes pastors don't understand that matured singles deal with. But again, like Pastor Temi said, the best thing is to show up, right? Get involved, get engaged, integrate with the church life, and, you know, seek counsel from the pastor. And the more pastors know what their people are going through, they are able to then come up with, you know, platforms that will be a blessing to even the matured singles or the single parents. But if you keep hiding, or have this perception that, oh, they won't understand, because I'm not single like that. I'm single divorced, I'm single widowed. Nobody will be able to help you.
Yeah, no, that's so spot on. Thank you very much, Ma. There is a question here. It's a follow-up question to one of the questions that we took earlier. And I think this is speaking to that question regarding financial situation, getting frustrated with their partner's financial situation. The person said, what if the person is so unkind and does not share when he has money? But you expect that you to share when you are working. So what is your advice for this person? So now we know it's not so much of the person not being able to afford things or not actually having money. It's maybe their attitude towards money, because yes, feels like person just doesn't want to share when they have money, but expects to share the spouses or the partners when they have.
I think there are deeper issues here. Their relationship is going through deeper issues. Not sharing money is just a symptom of something that is going on. That's not the issue. Honestly, they have to really sit down to know that they are really having serious issues. Love gives. Love gives. If you have and you are withholding and you are not giving, then there is a challenge. So I think they need to interrogate why this person is, and love is kind. So if this person is unkind, if this person is not given what they have, or sharing what they have, then there are deeper things to interrogate. It's not about the financial situation. The financial situation is just on the surface. There are deeper issues going on with that relationship that needs to be interrogated, and they need help.
Okay, so this person, please reach out for help, because yes, as Pastor Abi said, this is deeper than what you have here. So please do reach out for help.
Many
Now,
people say something to it that might help a little bit. The issue of unkind is an issue of perception. When you start saying somebody is unkind, it's because you perceive that action as unkind, does not share their money. It's all a perception thing. The person is probably not viewing himself as being unkind. Then there's a background rationale that's going on in his own mind as to why he's not revealing. And this is a typical thing between men and women. I've found in a lot of marriages, we've counseled quite a few, that a lot of men are not ready to be forthcoming about their money, about how much money is available to them. And when you talk to the average man about it, they say that once she knows how much I have, she's going to spend it. That it's like once she knows that I have this, she's going to immediately opposite for this, that, and the other. But what they don't realize that sometimes that lack of transparency doesn't make her think you have less. It only makes her think you have more.
Right.
So she starts planning for the more, and so it doesn't help. And it's supposed to be openness and honesty. So you've got to be willing to still be transparent, still be open with this is what's on the table. And if you are together and you have a united vision, then you are able to dispense or appropriate the money as should be appropriated. But like Pastor Abi said, it's deeper, and it requires some counseling to go down and find out what are the deeper issues, money attitudes, all sorts of things that are playing in the picture there.
Or even sometimes it's infidelity, sometimes it's trust issue. I can't trust you with the money, and they're just deeper issues. It's not just can I trust you? Yeah, it's not just what you think. There are deeper issues going on. That's money. Not sharing money is just a smoke screen.
Yeah, now thank you so much. And on the subject of love, because I know we have just 5 minutes left, so this last question, time has gone so fast, and there's so many questions here that I've not been able to get through. But as always, it's just important for us to address the ones that we're able to address, and hopefully people will reach out to Pastor Abi, Pastor Temi, Pastor Ruckey, to just take the questions further, to help you with that. There is a last question here that I want to ask, and then I'll let you give your parting words. And the question says, is love alone enough to sustain a marriage? Is love alone enough to sustain a marriage? And I think we want to hear from the three of you, from your personal perspectives, both professionally and spiritually, because I believe people need to go away with this, understanding if love is enough or not enough. So,
Yes, love is alone. Love alone, rather, is sufficient. Then again, we need to answer the question, what is love? Right? If love alone is sufficient to sustain a marriage, what is love? There's three dimensions to love. There's the eros, there's the filio, and there's the agape. So the eros is usually what brings people together. Fortunately and unfortunately, is an attraction, is a chemically induced, feeling of falling in love. And it's been scientifically proven that the longest period that lasted was 18 months, right? Of that initial fuzzy feeling, killing me softly, want to hang out with you, want to talk all night with you on the phone, even if we're across the ocean, kind of love, which is eros, quickly, subsides when the commitment part comes in and you live together. I always say love is blind, but marriage is an eye opener, right? It's the miraculous eye opener to certain things that you didn't see because of the intoxication of eros, right? As beautiful as that is, it's not enough to sustain a marriage. If that's the question the person is asking, eros alone cannot sustain the marriage. Eros is supposed to be like the icing on the cake. It's supposed to be what, puts the it effect in place. And there's the philia. We've talked a lot about friendship in marriage. That also is important. But that alone also might not sustain a marriage. We've known people got married because they were friends, they were companions, and at some point, the friendship went awry down south. The best love is the agape love. And my mentor described it as the decisional love. That love is a decision you make based on information acquired about someone. So you made up your mind to be committed to this person. You're willing to accept them with their worths and their strengths. Everybody has, weaknesses. It's a decision you make. So if your marriage is built on that level of love, the mature kind of love, the real God kind of love, it will sustain a marriage through whatever, ups and downs come as life does bring these things. Yes, love alone, agape love alone, decisional love alone, informed love alone can sustain a marriage if that's the kind of love that you have for each other. If it's eros, it's not enough. If it's filio, it's not enough.
Right. Powerful. Thank you so much. So, Pastor Temi or Pastor Abi, do you want to add a few words to that as well?
I think Pastor Ruckey did a wonderful and amazing job just capping that. I think the first thing that I will ask, what is your definition of love? If your definition of love is the love, if it's God, as God is love, and you are committed, as in both of you, not just one person, to follow that God, that's God who is love, and apply his principles of love, then that is enough for you. However, if the definition is something else, if it's based on your feelings, it's based on romantic fantasy that you acquire from Nollywood, from Bollywood, from Hollywood, or
Korean drama.
Or Korean drama, or animations,
Manga.
Anime, Mills and Boons. That is, then that is not enough. So I think it depends on what your definition of love is. I believe God is love, and everything that we want in love, in terms of marriage is God's idea. He initiated it. If we follow him, or let's say if we follow him and conduct ourselves according to his principles, guided by his love, his rules, and not mix the world and the word together. Because that's one thing that I found out that people do. They have the world standard that they want to bring into their marriage, but they want exemplary marriage that is built on what the word of God. It doesn't work like that. It's either you are in with God or you are out with the world. You know, and some people are practicing out with the world, and it seems to be working for them. You know, but as a believer, you can't mix the two together. So that's what I would say. If you define God as love and you are willing to follow his principles and apply all that he's telling you and teaching you in your journey of marriage, then that's enough for you.
Wow. Thank you. Thank you so much, Pastor Abi. I mean, we've come right on top of the hour. In fact, we're 2 minutes late now, but this has been really, really powerful. You know, there's never a time that we have had enough time to cover all the questions or to be able to address all of the different opinions or views. And this is why we always say that you need to take the next step from here, which is if you feel that you need counseling, you have the people that you can go to here to counsel you. I mean, we've always said about love is not enough, but what I've heard tonight is completely changed my mindset around it, because it's about define what your love is first and then determine if that is enough or not. So it has been amazing. Pastors, I am so grateful. Thank you so much. For all the viewers tonight, please help me appreciate Pastor Ruckey, Pastor Temi, Pastor Abi for their time. This has been so phenomenal. You know, Pastor Temi doesn't bring us here just like this. You know, it doesn't just do it. It wants us to learn. And I'm sure it probably has this plan for, someone said, let's have part 2 next week. You have to go and speak to Pastor Temi to make that happen for you. But it has been so great spending time with you three. Thank you so much. God bless you. We pray that, you know, all those lessons that you're giving us, we'll be able to live those lessons, and you'll be proud of, you know, the children that you're looking after. We are your children, so you'll be proud of all of us for what we are doing. So thank you so much, Pastor Ruckey. It's so nice to have you on. Pastor Abi, Pastor Temi, always a pleasure. Thank you. And of course, everyone, please let's just celebrate our speakers tonight. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, BBJ. Just before we sign off, just a few announcements, important announcements. We never get to exhaust all of these things, but by God's grace, we keep on looking for opportunities and platforms to exhaust these things. It's Valentine's week. It's not a biblical celebration, but any excuse to celebrate godly love and godly relationships, we will take it and we will use it. I want to encourage you that whatever you are doing this Valentine, make sure it's unto the Lord, and don't embrace the offerings of the world, lust masquerading as love. That's not love. So be discerning and don't fall into unnecessary traps in this season. However, I want to specially invite you to Sunday service. We're going to have a great time on Sunday service. The theme is Better Together. And so I'm not going to be alone in blessing you on Sunday. And we're going to go deep. So just get ready. Something good is happening this Sunday at House on the Rock, London. So tell all of your family and friends to turn up, to show up for a wonderful time. The couples have a wonderful dinner on Saturday. That's going to be great. So God bless you all real good. And don't forget the Faith in the Real World conference, the advert we ran earlier on. I need everybody to be part of that. It's going to be great. It's going to be great.
And thank you, baby, for doing a wonderful job. And
powerful work.
Thank you so very much. God bless you all. Have a good night, everyone.
Thank you,
and
Pastor
see you
Abi,
soon.
Pastor Temi.
Bye.
Bye.